Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. How are you doing? Today's topic. I don't remember if I have already spoken about this topic before in the channel, but I was pondering on the topic of self-worth issues and how is that linked to workaholism and how you try to do your best to perform and to, be of use, and how that can lead, well, to overworking yourself. So, yeah, let's get on with it. So, the thing is, this actually came to my mind due to the fact that I've been overworking myself, and that's why I kind of slowed down in the recording and editing and everything, because I was like really working hard, thankfully God, because I'm kind of saving the money, so I kind of need but at the same time there was a part of me that I realized that I was going back to some of my issues that I had when I was back in med school, or in any school, to be fully honest. It was that I would overdo it constantly, to the point in which if I have to rest, I don't actually rest. I'm like all giddy and standing and trying to do something useful out of that resting time, and I would do nothing. I wouldn't rest, that's for sure, and I would be even more tired than before. And it's just that guilt that you feel when you just can't rest. It's, how dare you to rest? It's just, how dare you? If you're such a useless piece of crap, you should be doing something out of yourself, something useful out of your time and everything. And even my own students were like, yeah, you should chill a little bit. Like, you're working too much. I know, it's just, or at least some of my students, not all of them, of course. Some of my students are children, but some of them are adults, so they're just like, yeah, I think you're overworking yourself. I mean, for being unemployed, thankfully God, I'm working quite a bit. But the problem is, it's not how much you work, it's what you do with the rest of your time outside of work. And I know this channel is occasionally watched by some, but let's be real, I have like 48 subscribers. You might be thinking, why you're uploading so much? Do you want to gain subscribers or something? No, it's just, I need an outlet, like a creative one, and I'm working on my communication issues, my self-expression, and it's like my hobby, but at the same time it takes work. So it's just like, have you seen it? It's like I'm trying to make something useful out of everything, and that's not healthy. I'm just, even my hobbies are like too dynamic, and it's not a healthy attitude towards life. Like, I should rest a little bit, but when I try to rest, I'm like, I must do something about this. This is uncomfortable. And yeah, that plus the insomnia. The insomnia is not good. That's not a good thing. I have started to, because I don't remember my dreams, but luckily I've been waking up and before the REM cycle ends, so I'm starting to remember some of my dreams lately, and I can tell how disrupted I am. I kind of knew it already, but my dreams are fairly interesting. It's like I'm doing therapy with myself when I'm dreaming. Just I don't even rest while I'm dreaming. It's just, I'm working on myself. And I know that that's the truth with most of people, but some people just have dreams and period. They don't have themselves stuck into themselves and trying to reach to a conclusion of a topic to themselves. You know what I mean? It's just like, you're not working with your psyche while you're sleeping. It's just, so the thing is, I kind of wake up even tired sometimes, like I've been struggling to myself. And the truth is, I'm struggling to myself. Why? Because I just don't feel like I'm worthy of resting. And that's something that it's heavily encouraged also by the environment I'm in. How dare I to have an opinion of my own? How dare I to say no? How dare I to do something they do not approve of? How dare I to have no specific goals in life? The reality is I do have a goal in life. It's leaving the heck out of there. I'm not trying to stay. It's actually going to happen one day, before my mother knew about me leaving the institute. And she told me, you know, you could take one afternoon off. You should impose yourself to others and tell them no when it comes to your schedule, because you're not saving lives. It's just a gig you're doing. And I'm just like, it's my job. It's the only one I have. It's the only one I've got. Why shouldn't I do it? And the reason for that was that she was trying to celebrate my birthday on April. It was April, isn't it? Yes, it was April. April the 16th, just before Easter. Now, to those of you who don't know me, my birthday is in December. They normally forget it. So, I was actually quite shocked, because in my culture, saying happy birthday in advance, it's bad luck. It's bad luck. It's just simply that. It's not good. It's not good. And when you're doing it in April, when you're celebrating my birthday in April, either you're really late or really early. Just, you can expect that my face was not, I was not amused. Especially because I was being like, oh, you shouldn't protest about this, because we did our best as soon as we could. And I was just like, what? Yes, because you wax your eyebrows out of time, and it's just like, they were messy. Mom, I waxed my eyebrows in a crappy way. By the way, I shaved them on a badly way, so it wasn't that bad. On the 21st of December, my birthday was on the 11th. So yes, my face was not perfect for the pictures of Christmas, but it was indeed plausible. So you can imagine my face was not the most amusing one. And on top of that, it's not like I'm a pretentious bitch. You know what the celebration was? Some meat, which is good, it's always accepted, and a cake from a supermarket that I hate because I don't like cherries. I'm kind of traumatized with cherries. I never liked them. I like them even less after puberty, because my dad would normally use those cherry candies with because the smell was so strong to cover up for his drunkenness. And I was like, I hate cherries. So they tried to cover up for the fact that it had cherries, like removing the cherries on top, and they placed some strawberries, but in the middle they had cherries, the cake, and it had peanuts on the sides. And it's just like, the whole thing was just unpleasant. I was just like, why are you even doing this for the picture? She said. And it's just like, that way you look good in the picture. I mean, you look half decent now. So it's just like, oh my god. And it wasn't like a full-blown celebration. It was just my brother, my mom, and I. And it was just awful, because 3/4 of the time she was protesting about my behavior, on why I shouldn't have complained, And the reality is, I only asked her not to say about not to speak more of the eyebrows, because it was not the truth. And I said to her that in private. She was just trying to find an excuse to fight. And I was just, I'm sorry I'm venting this much. I already left off topic, but the thing is, not even my birthday is worthy of respect. And back then I was like being a good girl and doing as I was told. You can imagine how much worth I have inside of the family. It's just none. So what happens then is just that I kind of feel that. I try not to, but I do. And how am I supposed to be worthy of resting if I'm not even worthy of the cake for my birthday? It's just... Well, do tell me, have you ever felt in a similar situation? What's your theory? An unlicensed theory I do have about workaholism is that it is a disrupted manner of sublimation. To those of you who don't know, Freudian theory, or at least what I studied back in university, or I teach to my students, was about sublimation is one of the defense mechanisms of the apparato psíquico. How do you call that in English? It's just a psychic apparatus. Our network is trying to deal with something, with an energy that it's out of place, with something it's unpleasant, that accumulates energy, and we try to handle that through different mechanisms like denial, repressing those feelings. We try to handle that. One of the healthiest manners to do so is sublimation. However, and I have never seen this described in the books, on the papers, there is no mentions of sublimation becoming toxic, but I do have the theory, again, unlicensed one, it's just, I used to teach that back in the university, but I'm nothing now, so it's just, I'm not a doctor, no nothing, so just take it with a grain of salt. I have the theory that sublimation has to do with workaholism. You're trying to over-process an emotion. It's just like trying to transform it in something sublime. The whole concept of sublimation, of course. You're right, I forgot. This is more, I don't usually see it in English speakers in that way, but among Spanish speakers, where like sublime is something it's above. It's like, and it's something you put on a pedestal. So the whole idea of sublimation is that you grab that energy that's unpleasant. Freud was obsessed with sex. It's just, everything was sex. Everything was sex. It's just impressive, the sheer amount of time that man dedicated to libidinic stuff. Just everything was sex. Anyhow, I hope you can still hear me in spite of the wind. So that unpleasant energy that has tension with your morals or something, and it's just annoying you for some reason, it doesn't have to be anything dirty, it's just it has to be dirty to you, like annoying concept to you. You grab it and you try to transform it or use it or apply it in something that is socially acceptable. A need that you need to scratch in your mind, and you grab it and you transform it into something you can actually, useful. Something, it's not only useful sometimes, even socially acceptable. For example, plenty of people who have egoic tendencies, like egoic. One thing I hate about your translation is that you people use ego and ego in the Freudian transcription, and it's not ego, it's self or I. It's just a terrible translation. Those who have like narcissistic tendencies or things like that, they tend to, for example, go into the public space, becoming actors. Believe it or not, that's a good thing, because they're just, instead of demanding from a regular human being to give me all of your attention, they just go in front of a crowd and they just get their supply from a whole bunch of people. So that makes, like, it's a socially acceptable way of scratching that need, in a way. An artist that's in pain, that's going through a lot, a very common way of doing sublimation is like Picasso with the Civil War issues and death and horrors. He painted a wall that expressed the horror and mural, the horrors of the Civil War in Spain. And yeah, that's a way of sublimating feelings of horror, discomfort, pain. A songwriter that is in pain because, I don't know, someone dumped him, grasps that pain and transforms it into a song, something beautiful. And it's not only socially valid, it's actually way better than doing drugs or something like that. So it's just like, you try, when you're sublimating, grabbing an uncomfortable feeling, transforming it into something positive, or at least less negative than the original problem. And I have the theory for that we're talking about workaholism. It's like an over accelerated form, or how do you call it? I can't remember. Why can't I remember? I forgot. I'm having a memory thing. I forgot what was talking about. What is it wrong with my English? Wait, when you have abused of that mechanism, because it can be good. You're not doing drugs. You're not harming anyone, hopefully. But you're harming yourself when you overdo it, just like anything. It can easily become an addiction. And the worst thing is, when you're overworking yourself, everyone is like, yes, you go girl, you boss babe. It's just, why don't you just stop? Leave me alone, I have no life. But you're doing this great, focus on your career. Boys and you know, sentimental things are unimportant. And it's just like, I've been doing this for the past 15 years. It's not healthy. I have no one in my life. I have friends, but I see them every now and then. It's just like, I need human connections of all kinds. It's just like, working, doing nothing other than working or studying, it's not healthy. You should have some boundaries within your own life. And it's just like, I even turn my hobbies in a form of work because, I don't know, because I hate myself. It's just, let's be real. That feeling comes from the idea of, I'm not even good enough to be loved by my mom, which is painful. Instead of being self-destructive in a traditional manner, like doing drugs, doing alcohol, sleeping around, things like that, you just work yourself until you're no longer here. It's a very efficient way of dissociating, because you're not dealing with your feelings, you're just working, you're just busy, hypothetically speaking, because you can't cry about your feelings when you're working. It's not socially acceptable. And the worst thing is that people tend to accept that as a good thing. And the other side thing that it's actually problematic is that the more you work, and you know, even in socialist societies, if you work yourself, even in Sundays, because I do work on Sundays, I'm a Catholic, but I'm not. I mean, I should go to church, but I'm the only Catholic in my family, so if I went to church, they will be just ruthless with me. Anyhow, God, these birds are so beautiful. When you're overworking yourself, you have a profit, you have benefits to it. Unlike a drug addict, that they lose money, you gain money. So it's just like, yeah, you do it twice. And socially, it's like really encouraged. to overwork yourself. I mean, we're not Japan, but so here you are. That was today's topic. Thank you so much for your time and your patience. And I'm so sorry for pondering and just venting to the air, but I kind of needed that. I'm not very good at... Oh, that's exactly why I made this channel, to work on my self-expression. So yeah, I hope you have liked it. I have found it useful. You have understood. I mean, it was a bit chaotic thing. I don't actually make a script for this kind of thing. I just talk. That's a bit more dangerous. So yeah, I hope you have liked it, find it useful, because after all you have spent quite a bit of your time with me. Find it enlightening somehow, entertaining maybe. It's just, I don't know. Just thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for everything. Until next time, I hope you're all safe and sound, and yeah.